guests today for joining us as we announce introduction of the New Mexico Family Act. This piece of legislation, which is Senate Bill 375, will make New Mexico the fourth state in the country to actually provide paid family and maternity and sick leave for New Mexico workers. Under current federal law, workers are provided 12 weeks of unpaid leave in a narrow set of circumstances. This federal law does not provide paid leave, and it leaves out about 40% of all American workers. At the end of the day, the federal law provides a false promise. It says you can take this leave, but at the end of the day, many families just can't afford to. So they're forced into making a nearly impossible decision. Do they choose to keep the job they need to provide for themselves and their families, or do they take the time off to provide for the birth of a child or for a serious medical illness? The United States is one of only 3 countries that does not provide paid leave in these circumstances. The others are Papua New Guinea and Oman. China and Iran both provide paid leave when people have children. And it's a sad state of affairs when we do not have the courage as a state to provide for our own people, and places like China and Iran do. So today we have 2 guests who can speak with you in a real way about how the absence of paid support impacts them and their families. I want to thank them for being here today, and I'll go to you first, if you wouldn't mind introducing yourself and speaking for a few moments.
My name is Roxanne Rosa. I am administrator of our Montessori school in Albuquerque, New Mexico. When I read this bill, it made sense for our industry because we already have a limited budget to work from, and it's hard for families to have to take time off of work to take care of their children. If they're not allowed to do so, they bring their sick children to our program, and then as a result of that, our staff get sick. We don't have the funds to pay for paid sick days. With staff being off, we have to cover them to meet state ratios and state regulations. And our families are suffering as well. And we all know that children shouldn't be at school when they're sick. They should be home with their families in the care of their parents, where they need to be taken well care of. Our programs are so limited, we can't provide paid sick days, and it's critical that this bill get passed so that is available to families and programs as ours.
Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing your story with us, and if you'd like to address the group now.
Hi, my name is Kristen Buckman. I'm a single mom, and I have a 3-year-old son. I work full-time, and if I am not at my job working with my clients, I don't get paid. There's no sick pay, there's nothing. So I'm often forced to make the choice between having to take off from work, which I'm allowed to do, but it means missing out on somewhere between $150 to $300 a day, and that's just something I can't afford. I can try and scramble to find a babysitter for my son at 7:30 in the morning when he isn't feeling good, but usually I end up having to give him some Dimetap and some children's Tylenol and send him to school and cross my fingers he's staying away from the other kids, which I know he's not, and hoping they don't call me to come pick him up in the middle of the day. So for me, I know especially, I'd love to be able to take the time off to be home with him, and I feel guilty bringing him into a place with other kids and making the staff and everyone else there sick, but it's that or not being able to pay my bills. So
thank you so much, and I think that hopefully these ladies have given you an idea of the issues that the whole country should start seriously dealing with. Congress has up to now failed to show the leadership it needs to make paid leave a reality across the country. That's why I think we here in New Mexico should take a leading role in this country to join Rhode Island, California, and New Jersey in making this fundamental protection and safeguard a reality. 60% of Americans on average, year after year, say they want paid family and medical leave in this country. The vast majority of Americans are willing to do what is necessary to make a system like this a reality. And the problem has been politicians here in Santa Fe and in Washington have generally been unwilling to hear those concerns. So I hope this session we can actually give voice to those concerns and we can take action. The bill that we've presented would provide New Mexico workers up to 12 weeks of paid leave in a given 12-month period. That leave would be available for the birth or adoption of a child. It would also be available when an immediate family member or spouse or child comes ill, seriously ill, both in terms of their physical health, but also if there's a behavioral health issue, which I know is very important to us here in New Mexico. When we talk about creating a state where people want to live and where people want to build a business, where they want to raise a family, I think there's no more positive message we can send this session than being bold enough to lead. And that's what I hope the legislature will do this year. The bill asks that employees and employers make a 0.2% contribution to a new state insurance fund to pay when you take leave off. That comes out to, for an average worker, about $2 every paycheck. But in exchange for that $2, you have the security of knowing that if you get sick, if your child gets sick, or if your spouse gets sick, that you're not going to lose your job and that you're not going to have to go without a paycheck to make sure that your family is taken care of. And to me, that is the definition of what we in Santa Fe should be tackling. We should not be tackling partisan issues that divide us, partisan issues that look and sound good. I think our responsibility in Santa Fe is to address the real problems we know exist. And your stories today have really outlined why it's so important that we take action. So for anyone interested, this bill will be referred first to the Senate Public Affairs Committee. We hope to have that hearing in the next week and a half. We will then move on to Senate corporations. I encourage everyone to reach out to their legislator and voice their support for this bill. This is going to be a hard fight, but it's one worth fighting. And no good things that have ever happened in this state for hardworking people were ever easy. It always seems like it's a hard fight, but that's why we're here. We're here to win the hard fights. So I want to thank you all so much for joining us here today. I don't know if there's any questions, and if not, we can wrap up. No? Okay, good. Well, that means it was a successful conference. Thank you so much for being here. I want to appreciate both of you for taking the time out of your day.
Thank you.
Adios.